We'll just film it right here. It's all good. Okay, I'm going to film it from here, and they're going in.
Okay,
Good?
beautiful.
All right. Remember Miracle on 34th Street. Should have told him to bring the bag back, too. It's my bag. Bring the bag back. Oh, right. Yeah. Here it comes. Hey! Very good. The whole
Did you
staff
catch him
came out
putting
to
them in the
watch.
shredder? Good.
Not yet.
And who wants to go in and watch him put him in the shredder? I think you earned some pizza. Go get some pizza. Hey, thanks a lot. I'll see you at the Marriott, 6 o'clock.
I'll just like after. I'll be facing that way, then I'll call right face. And so we move toward the crowd, and then they're gonna do a prayer. We stay here for that.
Okay, we're going to have to do this a la Clint Eastwood style. Because he's not here. So we're going to have to do the empty chair on all things. So, Bruce, if you would. All right. So, good evening, sir. It's nice to have you here tonight. I'm sure many people have plenty of things they'd like to talk to you about. What's that? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I thought it was Congressman Cantor, but I see you. My mistake. You know, what's that? Yeah, there's probably time. There's probably enough time. You mean to decide about Syria? You're taking plenty of time already. That'll get it. Oh, yeah, there's plenty of light out there. You can get another round of golf, and sure. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President, for showing up. We're going to need Congressman Cantor here. Thanks anyway, though. Yeah, let's get him out here as quick as we can. All right. Now, bring in the next chair, please. Good evening, Congressman. It's nice to see you tonight. Good. It's glad to be here. Well, we're just looking for some leadership in the House, and since you are the House Majority Leader, we just thought we'd bring you in here. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. That's my mistake again. That's right. I forgot. You cried. This is Congressman Boehner. That's what the baby chair is all about. No, I wanted Congressman Cantor. So can we flip this, please? Sorry. I'm sorry about the mix-up, but I know that's Congressman Cantor. There's no doubt about that. Okay. So here we go. Good evening, Congressman. And we, the people, just want to talk to you and hear from you. And so it's a pleasure to, well, you're here. All right. I'm going to go through a few remarks here. And Eric, the man behind the curtain, can I have that first PowerPoint slide up there? While he's doing that, I want to read you something. I'm not here just to bash, although it's darn fun. I've got 2 emails here, and I want to read this to you because I think it's fair, so you know what happened last week. I called Congressman Cantor as soon as I had the details about this ballroom and sidewalk and got the permits and paid plenty of money. By the way, there's a donation jug on the table as you'll eat. Don't leave it on my Visa card. But I sent emails twice. I phone called 3 times. Other people did as well. I got no responses until just a couple of days ago. And so I'm going to read my email to them. When I say them, there were plenty of people copied on this. And then I'm going to read the response, and then you'll know why we're here with an empty little chair. I said, greetings all. Let's see. I see in the CC list, so there were people copied on this. People like Pat Mullins, the head of the Virginia GOP, and some of the staffers, the legislative aide for Congressman Cantor, etc. I said, I see in the CC list that all the major players are included. That is good. All we are asking is that Congressman Cantor come to a town hall and speak to the people who voted for him as their representative. We think he's on the wrong side when it comes to defunding Obamacare, amnesty, and other issues. There are many who feel the same. We would like to hear his views and have him hear ours. In the past, several local Tea Party supporters have been treated exceptionally well by Congressman Cantor and his entire staff. That is as it should be. I only ask that a larger group of constituents be given the same opportunity. As host of the event, I will ensure that Congressman Cantor will be treated with respect, even though disagreement on issues may arise. It is not my intention to run a roast. This is a great opportunity for Congressman Cantor to inspire and lead us. We, the people, are only asking to speak to our elected representative. That is our right. It's just that simple. Sincerely, Larry. Here's the answer. Thank you very much for the invitation to participate in your town hall on September 4th. Congressman Cantor will not be able to attend. Signed, Jennifer. I want to point out briefly that at 2:30 this afternoon, Court Bush, the legislative aide, Congressman Cantor's right-hand man, he's new at the job. They met at 2:30 with about 5 different leftist groups, including Virginia Organizing, the ACLU, and others. They met at 2:30 and had a small press conference outside the office building following that, while we were 100 yards away on the sidewalk, wanting Congressman Cantor to be speaking with us, just to let you know where his priorities are. Okay, so that's why we're here. I'm going to talk a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over to other people, mostly you. So it's not all me. Here we go. Okay, can you hear me okay? All right, what would the founding fathers do? Right now, how many people are Tea Party supporters? How many people would describe themselves as, okay, wow, good, thanks for coming. How many people are certain we're going to win this thing? You're absolutely certain we're going to right this ship. Raise your hand if you think so. Or
You have to fight. You have to fight.
It's too late.
So,
Yes.
I want you to think real hard about where your attitude is right now. Serious. At the beginning of the Tea Party movement 4 years ago, there was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of, pitchforks, torches, a lot of people with signs and buttons and badges and tea bags hanging from their hats and doing all kinds of wild stuff, dressing up like George Washington, Patrick Henry, ringing bells. You know what I'm talking about. That can't go on forever. Okay? That can't go on forever. There's a place for that. We just did that this afternoon. There's a place for that. There's a time for that. But the Tea Party is maturing. The trouble with rallies and letter writing and phone calling and leave it at that, which is what y'all have been doing, is that your representative doesn't give a rip. Doesn't give a rip what you're doing out that window. We just proved that this afternoon. I would like somebody to this is a personal question, but I'd like somebody to raise your hand and tell me, I want somebody that's pro-life to please raise your hand. Okay? I'll leave you. If you were a congressman and I gathered 100 people outside your office door and we protested and we wanted pro-choice and we want you to vote pro-choice when it comes up next week in the House, are you going to vote pro-choice or are you going to vote pro-life? Pro-life. What if I got 1,000 people outside your office door? 10,000 people. I get 100,000 people on the National Mall and we rally for pro-choice. Are you going to vote pro-choice with 100,000 people out your window?
No, I wouldn't.
No. Why?
Principle.
Principle. That's the word right there. Okay? Believe it or not, on the left, they have principles too. We don't agree with most people in this room, I understand. Remember, we're nonpartisan. Anyway, so the trouble with what we've been doing is you're not going to change that mind until you change that heart. So what I would suggest is you change that person out and put a new bottom in that seat. What we need to do, the best place to do that is in your primary. It can be easily done. You get about 1,000 people out in your county during a primary. You get 501 votes and you win. You've got to start finding candidates. You hear me, Tea Party people?
Yes.
You've got to do the thing you have been doing and start mining for candidates. Get viable candidates and run them against these Democrats and rhinos and boot them out. Grab the reins of power. Good men and women write good laws. And when we have good laws, the culture will shift back. Take my word for it. That's the recipe for success. And that's what the Tea Party's not been doing. In other words, you got to organize a little bit. Maybe a lot of it. I know we're a little adverse to that, but that's where we are. What happened to Occupy Wall Street? Where are they? They're gone. It was pure emotion. They refused to use any bureaucracy and organize. So they disappeared. And the Tea Party has got to realize that we are now in a maturing stage. We don't stop all the rallies. We show strength with that. We show each other that we're not the only ones. But we've got to do more politically savvy things.
Yes.
Mostly that's replacing those in office. Sorry. But now let's talk about your attitude. I don't want to hear any defeatism anymore. Because you haven't earned it. You haven't earned it. Let's take a look at what our founding fathers were facing. And I want you to translate that into your mind. Okay, let's go.
Yes.
George Washington, father of your country. George Washington, he's looking around. If you're from Goochland, I said a few of these things last night, but it's not a total repeat. I had the honor of speaking in Goochland Tea Party last night. George Washington, 1776, is asked to give up Mount Vernon, pretty cool place, leave there, the farming that he loved, the quiet life that he wanted, and he was asked to basically risk it, right? Lives, sacred honor, fortune, etc. So he goes out into the field. What would the world look like in 1776? Well, he looks at the leader of his nation, and that would be, okay. Washington looked and he had a king who would give out these edicts, and there was nothing you could do about it. We call those executive orders today. Okay? So that's what Washington saw, and that's what you see. He had a tall hill to climb here. Next. All right? He looked at Boston. And what does he see in Boston? He sees that the harbor is bottled up by British ships, and he sees soldiers quartered in people's houses, and really no door was safe. They could go in anywhere they wanted to. Just like Boston a few months back. Remember after that horrible bombing? The army going through the streets of Boston with the police? That's illegal. You know that, right? And they were going into houses and bringing out women and children at gunpoint, all to find this one criminal. Mind you, I wanted that criminal to be found not this way. What did Ben Franklin say about giving up liberty for security? Remember? And he doesn't want us to give up essential liberty just for security, because if you do that, you deserve neither. Okay? We don't want this. How did they find that guy, by the way? Yeah, a guy comes out of the back of his house smoking a cigarette. Hey, there's something wrong with my boat cover. That's how they found that guy. This didn't do a thing. Didn't do a thing. And so we gave up all that personal liberty for what? So a guy smoking by his boat, fine. Okay? That was not a good trade. I don't know if you put that together. All right, next. So the governor of Virginia, in George Washington's day, went to the armory in Williamsburg, then in the capital, and he confiscated all the muskets and the powder. Patrick Henry actually grabbed a bunch of people, formed an armed company, and started marching on Williamsburg. He was bought up, not in a bad way, but they said, here's a receipt for the gunpowder. He was like, well, okay, we won't start the war just now. But it almost started in Williamsburg right there. So they were gun grabbing and ammunition grabbing in Williamsburg in George Washington's day. Is that being done today?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying here? You're in the same place, folks. You're in the same place. So George Washington says, things are bad. Things are real bad, and they've got to change. Okay? But we have two choices today to change this thing. We have the ballot or the bullet. That's the only two ways to change this government back to what it should be. He did not have a ballot, so they had to resort to the bullet. So out in the Valley Forge, they went. Right? Next. And in Valley Forge, they were told this by Thomas Paine. These are the times that try men's souls.
Yes.
The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. Where are all the people that were on that mall a couple years ago? I want to know. But he that stands by it now, that's you, deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. Put that here. Next. Patrick Henry, one of my favorites. You know, he didn't like the Constitution. He didn't go to the Constitutional Convention because he smelled a rat. Because he thought the presidency would turn into another King George. He's called now the prophet of the Patriots. Okay. Gentlemen, may cry, peace, peace. There's a lot of compromising going on in Washington. I don't want the conflict. Your neighbors don't want to talk politics. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle?
That's my question.
What is it the gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take. I don't care. But as for me, give me liberty. Give me death. Yes. Next. I love Samuel Adams, but I'm not talking about a beverage. This guy, he liked lighting the little brush fires in the minds of people. That's how you start and win a revolution. Samuel Adams said, if you love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go home from us in peace. Get out of here. We ask not your counsels or your arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. Entitlements? May your chains set lightly upon you and made posterity forget that you were our countrymen. That's some pretty serious talk right there.
Yeah.
This is what the founding fathers were thinking. Now I want you to check yourself. Is this what you're thinking? Or are you thinking, we're past the tipping point, I don't think we can do this. You know, Obama just does whatever he does, and we got lions all over the place, and, stop it. You know what I'm saying? These guys, this is why we remember them. This is why they're in the history books, or at least until Common Core kicks in. Right? Because they had that attitude of, we can do this. We can have a revolution and overthrow the mightiest navy and army in the world. No problem. Next. Join or die.
Yes.
Tea parties have got to start working together.
Yep.
Got to start working together. You can't have one tea party, having somebody in there talking about chemtrails, and the ones over here talking about FEMA death camps, and the ones over here talking about 9/11 as an inside job, and the ones over here are talking about, where I'm going with all this, right?
That's right.
Okay? Wouldn't it be a great idea if every tea party in Virginia got together and said, for the next few months, I think we ought to hit this Medicaid expansion / Obamacare thing really, really hard here in the state of Virginia. And if we did that, what a mighty force that would be. Right? You know that conservatives still outnumber liberals in this country. Do you know that?
Yes.
What are you waiting for? You got awesome music. Right, next. Okay. Is this the man to join the ranks of Washington, Thomas Paine, Patrick Henry, and Samuel Adams?
He's sly.
I sense hostility here.
Sell out.
I sense disagreement. All right, well, we're going to find out tonight. We're going to find out in a little bit. We're going to have a couple people talk, but we're going to go back to Congressman Cantor, and we're going to do DVD clips. We're here till 8 o'clock. We're going to do DVD clips, and I'm going to take this microphone and that microphone, and we're going to pass it around to you, and you're going to talk. I'm pretty much finished with my talk. So, can you go one more slide here, Eric? And I think, okay. Or will our leaders look more like this? Or this? United States Senator holding up a copy of the Constitution. Go figure, He's the guy that did the continuing resolution we're about to pass, if we can sway Congressman Cantor. Or will our leader look like this? I had the honor of speaking after Ted Cruz on the steps of the Capitol a couple months ago. That's why I'm waiting in the wings there. And he gave a great speech. And we talked to him, Bill and I talked to him on the steps when we were waiting to go on the steps. He is who you think he is. He's a genuine guy. I talked to him a couple times. He's not fooling. He really is what
He
he's
is
saying.
awesome.
He is a very nice gentleman. He's got his act together. He knows
Yep.
how this country's supposed to run. He gave a great speech, and when he was walking off the stage, I started to walk on, and I said, thanks for warming up the crowd for me, Ted. He kind of looked at me like, you wish. Next. Here's a quick comparison chart as we roll into this evening. I picked 3, kind of at random, but I wanted some report cards from organizations that are full or they count fiscal stuff and liberty issues, some social issues, and they roll it all up. I know other groups do this too, but sometimes they only concentrate on the fiscal or whatever. So I wanted you to see this. Heritage Action, Freedom Index, and Freedom Works all have scorecards that are fairly good, I think. Heritage Action gives Cruz a 100%, Lee 100%, Rand Paul 96. I picked McClintock because he helped us out with the IRS scandal very early on. And he's also a Republican Tea Party guy in California. And that's not easy to do. 90%. I'll talk to him about the other 10. And then there's Eric Cantor, 66%. Ouch.
Shameful.
Freedom Index, 90% for Cruz, 90% for Lee, 93% for Rand Paul, 92% for McClintock, 57% for Eric Cantor. Freedom Works. I respect Freedom Works.
Yes.
100% for Cruz, 100% for Lee, 98 for Paul, 90 for McClintock. In 2012, Congressman Cantor got a 37%. And it's not much better this year so far at 46%. So I'm not just here like blowing smoke. I'm talking about a Republican that actually votes like a Democrat. You've got to do, all the hands that went up in the 7th district, you have got to do something about this. You have got to do something about this. Looking at this chart, do you understand why he's not here now?
Yes.
I think that's the last time. Is that it? Okay. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Let me just finish up with this. Let me go real quick. More than 60 Republicans, it's now more than 80. This is back in July. More than 60 Republicans signed a letter urging Speaker Boehner to defund Obamacare when Congress funds the government in September. It's being circulated by Mark Meadows, good guy. They're urging Boehner and Majority Leader Eric Cantor, Republican Virginia, to defund the implementation, etc., of Obamacare. 80-some congressmen have signed on to this. Where's their leader? He hasn't signed this. Next.
Not a leader.
Why do we call him the leader when he's following?
Not a leader.
Here we have the Defund Obamacare Act of 2013. So now the first one was a letter urging the two leaders to please defund this monster train wreck. Here's the actual HR bills. And you can see the co-sponsors, 138 at the time this was done. There are more right now, 138. And you go down the list and you see people like, I don't know, Wastani, Charles Wastani, he's a friend of mine. Jim Brandenstein, he's good. Mo Gross, he's good. You get down here, Burgess Cassidy, and there's no Cantor in there. There's like 150 people now signed on to this bill. You know, that's more than half the Republicans in Congress, I think.
But isn't it true that they can't defund Obamacare because it's in non-discretionary funding to start off with?
No.
So they would have to change, they'd have to write a new law.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going. The continuing resolution was a stroke of brilliance, in my opinion, and that's where they land, and that's where they want. This is just that pressure. I'm with it. I'm with it on this. I'm with it. The continuing resolution, in case you don't know, that's proposed, funds the entire government except for Obamacare. Well, you also have to put a specific rider on that continuing resolution to go along with some of the mixed funds. So you have to have a specific rider delineating this needs to not be funded, this needs to not be funded. It can be done. Let's face it, folks. Obama, at the stroke of a pen, makes laws. The Supreme Court makes its own laws.
Why does he let
So,
them do that?
well, why do we let them do that? That's why we're here tonight, to convince Cantor to not let them do that. All right? If it doesn't work, you know what to do in the primary seat. But I'll just leave that there. But, you know, if, at least put it on a piece of paper, okay? All right, Eric. Is Congressman Cantor representing me? That's what we're here to find out. All right,
No,
so
he is not.
there will be a little bit more later. All right. In the meantime, I was going to have somebody else speak for a little bit tonight, but their plumbing exploded and their hardwood floors are removed. So we're going to skip one person and we're going to go straight to Melody.
All right.
Melody Scalley.
Hey, Melody! All right!
Good. I didn't know Tony's was voting before. For those of you who I have not had the privilege of meeting yet, my name is Melody Himmel Scalley. I am the regional coordinator with Heritage Action. You might know Heritage Action. The Heritage Foundation has been around for 40 years now, and is now, we are privileged to have Senator Jim DeMint as our president. He is the real deal. And if you're not familiar, Senator Jim DeMint, he had the highest score, most conservative in the Senate. And he decided he could getting good conservatives elected than he could changing the mindset of those already in office. So that's why he got behind Ted Cruz. He got behind a number of really great conservative individuals, and they took to the road over the last 2 weeks. They hit 9 different cities on our Defund Obamacare Town Hall series. And we had one town hall in Dallas that had 2,000 people show up. So don't think for a second that people aren't ready to really make this happen. And the only way that it will happen is with all of you. And I want to thank you for being here, because only by all of you staying engaged and getting involved can we turn this ship around. You have to pay attention. It takes a little bit of work to get educated on the issues. There's a really important website you need to remember, and that's heritageaction.com. heritageaction.com. And I will tell you also, if you go to heritageaction.com/Richmond, you'll find a page there where you can send me a message and sign up. We are doing some canvassing in this area. We would love to have some block captains and some precinct captains to help us to educate your neighbors. You obviously are educated on the issues, or you would not be here right now. So I truly commend you for that. So we've got a table right outside, and I have some contact cards on that table. And if you would like to share your contact information with me before you leave, that would be absolutely awesome, because I would love to share with you what our Sentinel program is. Our Sentinel program is how we equip folks to go out and lead in their areas. And we really focus on Congress. That's one of the most important things that we need to do. And unfortunately, you don't have a representative here this evening to share your concerns with, so we will help you to get your message heard by him directly. I want to share a little video with you, and then I'm going to come back and talk some more.
I just felt crippled with fear and inaction. And I remember that every morning I'd fall on my knees in prayer next to the bed, wondering, asking God, what can I do to make this better? How can I be part of the solution to the problem? 5 years ago, when my husband and I retired, we had this long-range plan when we first got married to retire after 30 years of work. And it was the McCain-Obama campaign going. And I could see that the political winds were favoring Obama. It was a scary thing. We had a market crash. So half of the things that we had saved on paper were now wiped out. So I started to venture over to my local GOP in hopes of finding something to do for the election. There was really nothing going on there. It was very disheartening. I was just looking for some way to make a difference and do something. Well, I've been a long-time member of Heritage Foundation, so I was personally contacted by Russ Bode and Jessica Anderson when Heritage Action was just starting up. And they were looking for activists to write letters to the editor on the Affordable Health Care Act. So I said that I would, and they provided me some wonderful research and talking points to help craft my letter. I submitted the letter, it was published, and our relationship grew from there. They do the same with each Sentinel. It's a very personal relationship they develop with Sentinels, and that's what separates them from all the other organizations out there that I've tested. There's all these tools in an activist tool chest, and Heritage Action is there to teach activists how to use those tools. Now I look forward to the future, because I know that I'm making a difference. As a Sentinel, we have our voices heard individually. And when you add up our team with all the other teams that are growing across this country as Sentinels, we're going to be forced to be reckoned with. We will be heard, we see, and help shape policy, and help take our country back to its founding principles.
immigration reform that they are pushing forward. We are saying no to amnesty.
Amen.
We're also saying defund Obamacare in the continuing resolution. When the summer started, they weren't talking about defunding Obamacare. That wasn't part of the conversation. It wasn't anything that was anywhere on their radar screen. Over the course of the last few weeks, Heritage Action has been at the forefront, changing the direction of that conversation. And while Syria and addressing intervention in Syria is very important, we don't need to change the conversation and the focus right now. We really need to keep the focus on defunding Obamacare and the continuing resolution. And if you turn up the heat, you know, what did Reagan say? If you can't make them see the light, make them feel the heat. And it's time. It's beyond time for them to start feeling the heat. So I'm going to encourage every single one of you. Do you have any idea? The media would certainly notice if everybody in this room tweeted to your representative asking him to get on the Meadows letter, which is even more important than co-signing the bill, quite frankly, because if they will sign the Meadows letter, they are saying, I will not vote for a continuing resolution that funds Obamacare. And if they're not willing to do that, but they're just willing to co-sign the bill, it has no teeth. And we have a few representatives in Virginia who have been willing to co-sign the bill, but not sign the Meadows letter. That's the song and dance. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for the spin. So Heritage Action, we have our sentinels or our activists, and we will get you the information that you need to be as effective as you can be. And so if you would please sign up with me outside here. We really need some folks to step up to the plate and be precinct captains and block captains in this area. It's a very important area, as you well know, because you all live here. And we want to help make that happen. So I'm happy to take any questions, Larry, if you want to do that. I don't know if you want to or not. Do you have time?
Couple questions and then we get a roll.
Defunding Obamacare and the continuing resolution. Any questions? We all have that down hold? Yes, ma'am.
Is it too late to repeal Obamacare?
Well, no, but right now, let's not get lost in the fray here. Defund it. Defund it, because what happens on October 1st? The exchanges all kick in. Defund it now. We're running out of time very quickly. So that's why it's so important to defund it in the continuing resolution.
But on a continuing resolution, the Senate also has to sign that. The Senate is not going to sign something that says that they're going to defund Obamacare.
Who controls the purse?
The president. And so the Senate, they have not put out a budget in the last 6 years. The Senate hasn't signed one.
The point is made, I'm not trying to walk on your naughty, but what the Republicans are trying to do is put the Democrats in a position to shut down the government, not the Republicans, and you are correct. But they're going to make President Obama sign a piece of paper that shuts down everything, and it won't be, Boehner or Cantor signing that piece of paper. That's
right.
It's forcing me. Sorry.
That's right. No, that's fine.
One more question, and then no, you can stay until the end.
Yes, I will be here.
Okay, so she'll be there after too. If you have more questions.
Will you explain the difference between the letter and the bill? Because I don't understand.
Okay, the Meadows letter. This is an important distinction. He wants to know the difference between the Meadows letter and the act of defunding, the co-sponsoring the act to defund Obamacare and the continuing resolution. That is a very good question. If they simply sign on as a co-signer on the Defund Obamacare Act, that's great. They can do that, but then if they still vote in favor of a continuing resolution that doesn't actually defund, it's meaningless. The Meadows letter puts them on record as saying, I will not vote for any continuing resolution that funds Obamacare. That's why the two go hand in hand. That's why we have a few representatives escaped.
Who are they?
Whitman's one. Whitman's one, and I want to say that Griffith is the other. So, but, I mean, that being said, none of the other guys have signed, you know, they're not there.
About Randy Forbes. Where's he
No,
at?
he's not on, I don't believe he's on either. Yeah, I don't believe he's on either. So,